Let's see, we are again coming to check another way. The first one that we did, we simply just, so let me come here and then unveil whatever that is there. I decided to hide it, maybe, and then also unveil whatever that is there. Now, what you are seeing here is what we call the data tables, which I'm going to come to that. But there is something here, these are scenarios. Over here, we were saying that if you have the quantity at 100, then this is the profit. What about if you have the quantity at 200? Let's come this way. So I'll have to come and type here 200, and then you see that changes. If at 300, that changes. So these are different scenarios. What about if the price also changed to 33 Ghana cedis? And then what about if the price changed to 35 Ghana cedis? So we can see that we have different scenarios, and then what is it that we can, but you can't keep doing it this way. How are you going to report it? And that's why scenario manager comes in. We should be able to come out with a sheet like this, where we can say that our current value 100 Ghana cedis, we are making, let's say, 880. If we are selling 200 quantity, we are making 1,760. 300, we are making 2,640, and then 400, then in that order. So how do we create this scenario manager? Using the what if analysis package. And that's what we are coming to do now. So I'm going to delete this. And then we are inside GoalSeek right now. So inside GoalSeek, like I said, I think I should cover this again. For now, I don't need it. And then, so inside GoalSeek, once you have already established this particular calculation here, now it becomes easy for you to do scenario manager. Even without this, you can also do scenario manager. I'm going to show you two examples. Now, let's come to our data tab and come to what if analysis, and then we click on scenario manager. So you notice that I've created quite a number of scenarios, and then I'm just going to delete all of them. So I'm deleting everything there. And then, so after you have established your price and then all these calculations that are there, you can create something we call scenarios, different scenarios. In this case, our scenario, we're going to look at different quantities and how much profit we can make. Then we can choose one of the scenarios if it is fine for us. So to do that, you simply go to the data tab, come to what if analysis, and click on scenario manager. You're going to see this empty box that is going to appear. That's the empty wizard. You can see add, click on that. And then what is the scenario name? So we are just going to say that when quantity, so the scenario names allows you to be able to, when quantity was 100, all right? And then you can come here and then write a comment and just say that when quantity was 100. You see, if you want, you can leave this comment. It doesn't really matter. Then you click OK. And then when you come to, I think, E, I was at a wrong place. So I'm canceling. I was supposed to be at the quantity before I should be able to do that. So you close it and make sure that this is your active cell, the quantity. That's where the scenario is going to. We're going to use different scenarios of quantities. So we come to manager like this and say add scenario, and then we will say, you see that now the cell is D3. So I'm going to say when quantity underscore 100. That's the scenario name. And like I said, here you can just put comment. When quantity was 100 is optional. Then you click OK. So you see that it has already identified the quantity, and then we're saying that when it is 100, so it is OK. Then you click on add another scenario. That scenario, we're going to say that when quantity underscore was 200, and then this time around I don't need to write any comment. I'm just going to click OK. But we are saying this time around when quantity was 200, so put 200 there when you come to this and click add. Then again, say when quantity underscore 300, and then again, I don't need this. I'm just deleting it. And then you click OK. And then here we are saying when quantity was 300. Make sure you type the 300 in this. In your case, you might not see the name quantity over there. I decided to put quantity there because I have named this cell, the D3, as quantity. And that's why it comes as quantity. If you want, you can name the cell and then you what is it, you are good to go. Now let's do one more scenario. And then in this case, we're saying that when quantity was 400 Ghana cedis, sorry, what 400 items. So I don't need this. Then I'm simply going to say, okay, when it was 400. And then if that is okay, then I'll just click OK. So we have about 4 different scenarios. So I'll click OK. So these are all the quantities that I've spoken about. Now, if I click on the 200 here, and then I come to click on show, then you will notice that this particular value, the profit will change. Check. And the rest of the values will change. If I come to 300, all of them will change. If I come to 400, all of them will change. If I go to the first one, that's the comment that I wrote. I say when quantity was 100, so it will appear here. The rest, I didn't write any comment. And then you see that it will give us what we have here. But you cannot also report this. So you create what we call the summary or scenario manager summary. So you come here and click your summary. And then the summary, you need to target a particular cell. And this is why I want you to pay attention. Now, here we are looking at different quantities, scenarios of different quantity, and the profit. That's what is going to happen. So I'm going to, and before I click OK to get a summary, also note that the summary can come in the form of a scenario summary or scenario pivot table. We're not talking of pivot table today. And so make sure you click on scenario summary. And then make sure you also click, if this particular cell was not there as the profit or profit target, profit as the target cell, then you need to highlight on that. And then you click OK. So you see that it has created a scenario, different scenarios, and you can see your current values 100. And then when quantity was 100, this was our profit. Then when quantity was 200, this was our profit. And then when quantity was 300 and then 400. So that is how scenario is being created. So we've created different scenarios of quantities. So it's not left for us to choose one. And when we choose one, we can make our decision from that. Now, let me show you something quickly. Let's come to what if and then click on the scenario manager. You see that the scenarios are still there. This time around, let's come to click on summary. And this time around, let's say that our target cell is no more the profit, but is now the total revenue. So we are changing our target cell to total revenue. And we are saying that if we have different scenarios of quantity, what will be the total revenue? So let me click on that. And you see that when we have different quantity, at this particular quantity, 100, total revenue is 3,200. When it rose up to 200, this was our total revenue. And then when it rose up to about 300, this was our total revenue. So you can target any of them. And for instance, we can come again and say, what if analysis here, and then click on our scenario manager. This time around, click on the summary. And this time around, we are not looking at total revenue. We are looking at total cost. And so let's say, or we are looking at transport costs when different quantities were there. So our target cell now is transport cost. So that is what we have here, transport cost. And then we can just click here and click OK. And so you see that it gives us, this is the current value and this is the transport cost. And then when it rose up to 200 quantity, then the transport cost also rose up to say 640, and then in that order. So this is how scenario manager is used to be able to estimate or to come up with different scenarios and what will be the outcome, and then you are good to go. Now, having understood this, scenario manager doesn't have to always be just what is it, like this, like one quantity. You can have different quantities and you can create scenarios about it. So let's come to something that I created earlier. And so, yeah, they are at this particular place. So you notice, let's say KNUST College of Science is organizing a scientific conference. And then this is the outlay of the scientific conference. We have venue, we have the flight ticket of speakers, and then we have venue rental. We have to rent the, and then we have sound system, lighting and accreditation, security, insurance, total costs. These are all costs, you see. But the number of seats is just an estimation, it's not a cost. So we just leave it over there. But the number of seats actually was, okay, let's say 1,500. So if we have something like this, then we come to look at the revenue part. Price per ticket, that's price per person who wants to attend, is 50 Ghana cedis. Then ticket price, ticket sales. That will mean that each person who is coming is paying 50 Ghana cedis. How many of them are coming? Obviously, these are the total number of seats, because each seat will have, and so we add the ticket sales, it will give us this amount. So it's 50 times the total number of seats. Then merchandising. This has to do with paraphernalia and all those booklets and everything that you have to sell to them. And we are selling each of them at 5 Ghana cedis. So multiply by the total number of people who are coming. Food and beverages. We are saying that each person is entitled to a plate, and then the person will pay 15 cedis. And then total revenue that we are going to make, then is when we add the whole of this, that will give us our total revenue. Profit or loss is our total revenue minus our total cost here. So the total cost start from here all the way up to this point, and then we are good to go. Now, the question comes, this is for 1,500 seats. It means we're expecting 1,500 participants. But what about if we have the maybe a small number, like 300, and then the speakers are like 4,000, and then in that order. And let's say the venue rental also reduced to about, let's say, 400 Ghana cedis. Sounds is now costing, let's say. So if we have different scenarios, then we can come up with the best scenario that if we are expecting 300 guests or participants, then this is the scenario. So all these figures you see here will have to change, and then in that order. And revenue too will have to change, and profit will have to also change. So we create all those scenarios in order to make sure that we are good to go. We are good to be able to choose which one is best for us. Now, let's look at how to be able to create use scenario manager to be able to handle something like that. Now that we have all of this, like I said initially, those places that I have highlighted, those are the places we use formulas to be able to, we use formulas to be able to calculate. So those ones will not form part of our scenario manager. Pay attention. The only places that we can make changes, like I said earlier, are the values. The values are where we can make changes. You see, all of this, that's where we can make changes. We cannot make changes to any of the places that we have highlighted. So how do we create a scenario manager here? First of all, you click on this, the first one, press your control the key down and press this. All the values that we enter them directly, which don't have formulas, those are the ones that can be changed. So after you have highlighted everything, go to your data tab, come to your data analysis, and click scenario manager. You see that I've already created the scenario manager. Now let me add just one more one more scenario manager, and then you see how it's going to look like. So you see that all the cells I have highlighted, they are all inside here, inside this particular place. You see that when I click inside that particular box, you see all of them having red ring light around it. So what is the last scenario name? Then I'm just going to say, I've already created the scenario. I just want to give you one so that you understand. So I would say very, very small, very, or let me just say, call it small venue. Small venue. And then I can come here. This comment is not really, and so I'll click OK. And so it's going to bring up all of this. So if I say small venue, how many seats am I expecting? For that scenario that I'm going to create, it means I'm expecting 200 seats. And then the speaker's flight, how much is it going to cost? This time around, I'm expecting it to cost 2,000 Ghana cedis. Then the venue rental, I'm expecting it to cost around, let's say, 320. Then public address system, maybe 75 Ghana cedis. Lightning, maybe 50 cedis. Then use tap to move to the next cell. Accreditation, maybe 70 cedis or 75. Then security, 75 cedis. Insurance, that will be, let's say, 80 cedis. And then we are selling the ticket. Each participant will pay how much? 20 Ghana cedis. So if that's it, then I'm going to click OK. So now I have, how many scenarios do I have? I've already created the other scenario. Other than that, I would have clicked here, add, then to create another scenario of different values of different seats, the venue capacity and everything. And when we are done, I can simply click here and come and look. All the values here will change. I can click on the one that I just created right now. Come and click so. You see what is going to happen. So that is how it's going to work. Now, like I said earlier, now we can now look at our scenario summary. Then you click on this, and again, it's going to tell you your target cell. So in this particular scenario, are we interested in looking at the profit we're going to make with all the scenario we have created? If that is our point, then we can simply come and click OK. Other than that, if we want to know this scenario we have created, how is it going to affect the total sales we're going to make from ticket? Maybe that's all that management want to look at. Then we can pick this one as our target cell. Then if it is merchandising, paraphernalia of different scenarios, how much are we going to make from each particular scenario? So let's start with the profit here. So let's click on the profit, and then we look at that. I think it's already there, but because I added a different one. So now come to look at it. So if we have, this is the current values, the one we just created right now, which is the same thing as the small venue. So if we have a venue of 200 capacity, then flight ticket will cost the university 2,000. Then we have venue rental 320, 75, and that order. Then at the end of the day, we are making profit of 5,325 Ghana cedis. If the event is going to get about 1,500 participants, and then we are going to spend 10,000 Ghana cedis on flight ticket of speakers, and then the venue rental is 1,750 for public address system, security, insurance. Then at the end of the day, the university will be making a profit of 91,300. So these are different scenarios that we have created, and then people can have a look at it. Now let's look at something quite quickly, and then so come back to the same scenario manager, and this time around we are clicking on the summary, and then the summary, we are not targeting profit again, how much profit we are going to make. Let's just look at total revenue. That's our target cell for now. So our target cell is going to be total revenue of the different scenarios. How much total revenue are we going to be making? So you click that as your target cell and click OK. And it's calculating. So yes, So with the current values of 200 capacity, the total revenue will be 8,000. If it is 300, it will be 15,000. 800, that will be 44,000. 1,000, that will be 60,000. 15,000, that will be 105,000. And then in that order. So these are different way we create scenarios to be able to look at the outcome, and then we are good to go. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you in another video where I will show you data tables where we can look at, we can do some kind of cross validation. But if people are finding difficult to appreciate this, you can actually highlight the whole of this. Just highlight all the way up to this point, and then use a conditional formatting so that people can actually see what. So you go to your home tab, come to your conditional formatting, and then come to, let's say, different colors. And then people can actually see where we have greater values, and then in that order. So I can apply this, and this become easy for everybody to read. So you see the bigger value is here, the total revenue is here, and then in that order. So this becomes a very good report that you can now present to management. And then these are different scenarios if we are going to organize the scientific, a conference. I hope this has been helpful. I will see you again in a different video.